Well, I thought we defended fairly well to start the game, and I haven't even looked at a stat sheet yet, so I don't know what the numbers are exactly. So forgive me on that. You guys have it, I'm sure. Um, so yeah, just defending well, even though our offense wasn't playing great, we still were doing the necessary things on defense at that end of the floor. Thought we were a little bit loose with the basketball. We had too many turnovers in the first half. I think we had 9. So that hurt us because we're not a high turnover team, and on the road you can't afford to do that. So, but I felt we were in pretty good shape, at the half, considering just juggling Remy with 2 fouls. He usually doesn't get 2 fouls. He's very rare that I have those issues with him in the first half. And then Graham also. So I thought we were in decent shape down 1 and came out okay to start the half. And they just really turned it up a notch, defensively. You could see why statistically they are what they are defensively. And, when they got us to 9, we did respond and cut it back to 4. But then they had another burst, and I didn't like how we finished the game at all. I just didn't think that they had too many layups. They scored numerous times. We kind of, just folded some defensively, and McKinley Wright was, had his fingerprints all over that. So that's basically my perspective on what happened.
Monica.
Hey, Coach. I'm here at the arena, as you can see. Saw the game. Just wanted to ask you, what did you think the turning point of the game? You did get it down to 4, but what essentially was the turning point and made the difference in the game?
I think the team with Colorado's, they're very well coached. They have great experience. They're very good on defense. And when the game is it's time to decide the game, they got stops. They relied on their defense. Our guards couldn't effectively get by their guards. Really, McKinley Wright, Parquet, these guys did a nice job. Parquet, especially with Remy limiting his touches. So their defense impacted the offensive end of the floor for us. And then they ran good offense. They got good shots, and they scored the basketball.
Doug Howley.
You had Marcus back tonight just for his first time in about a month. How do you think he did? And was he on any sort of minutes restriction at all?
It's more of an eye test with Marcus. Getting him coming off the bench tonight was a way to limit his minutes some, because I did not want to get a scenario where he's playing 25, 30 minutes. I was hoping to get him around 18 or 20, and I'm not sure where he finished exactly, because I sat and looked at the stat sheet after the game. But we got to get his conditioning right, game reps, and there's no replacing that. And I'm sure he'll get a lot out of this game. And I think the goal is to get him as good as we could get him by next week when the season's on the line.
Trevor.
Bob, you mentioned Remy a little bit. He's gotten off to a lot of hot starts of late, and you mentioned those 2 quick fouls. How much did that affect his rhythm in addition to what McKinley Wright was doing on him?
Yeah, I mean, those guys weren't matched up a ton. They kind of had to, so it wasn't a true head-to-head battle, but certainly the fouls didn't help. I just never thought he got into a good rhythm, and he didn't really look like himself, or had a guy that has scored 8 straight 20+ games. You attribute that definitely to Colorado and say that like they had a lot to do with it.
Hode.
Bobby, you mentioned the 9 first half turnovers. What do you think the reason was for that? Do you think on the other end, could you have done a better job taking advantage of the Colorado turnovers? They had a lot of those to begin the game too.
Yeah, you could look at the game and say like we were close, and we were down 1 at the half, but I thought there were opportunities to maybe get ahead a little more, and we just didn't take advantage of that. And I think the turnovers had something to do with it. There were some on pass aheads that weren't successful. And then we sprinkled in a couple of 0 pass possessions where, we outlet the ball to someone, and whoever that someone is, if they just go off set defense and shoot some type of contested off balance shot, you might as well call that a turnover too. So, even though we had 9, we had probably 3 or 4 other offensive possessions that were the equivalent of a turnover.
Amir.
Yeah, Coach, what exactly did you say to Alonzo when he came to the bench with his 3rd foul? And how do you think he responded after he came back into the game?
When are you referring to? Is that early second half?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we just, we had a little bit of a disagreement, and we talked it through like adults do, and then he came in and had a nice stretch. When he came back, he made some shots, so that was good.
Carson.
Hey, Bob, you talked about some of the reasons why Remy didn't have his best night. How did you feel like you guys were able to compensate in spite of that fact? And how did you feel about sort of the rest of the team's offensive performance?
Yeah, I mean, it was Holland Woods and it was House. I mean, those 2 guys, they really they did some things offensively, especially the first half. I think they were a combined 7 for 8 from the field. So in the first half, and we were shooting, I think 39 in the first half. So geez, if it wasn't for those 2, we'd been really in a bad spot. But it's good to see, Holland playing that way, and House again, providing a spark. And he didn't play the scoreboard at all, even though things didn't go his way. McKinley Wright's a veteran guard. He made some shots on him and made some plays, but he was really competitive. So I liked how he just kept battling against that guy, and he didn't put his head down, in that game. He just kept competing. Also, again, I know Kamani Lawrence missed some shots in the first half, but he's another guy that was, went all in for this game. He's played a very good 4 for 11 game, and you don't really talk about someone positively that didn't score well. Like he wasn't a big scorer for us tonight, but he really competed at the best level he could tonight.
Last couple questions, Monica.
Hey, Bobby. I just wanted to ask that there were so many offensive fouls in the early part of the game, and it kind of threw the rhythm off of the game. And then your team had a bunch of fouls later. How did that affect who you could put in and not put in? And what did that have to do with your strategy for the game? Because it seems to me like you did have a short bench.
Yeah, I mean, it was just poor judgment on a couple of those drives, and we just, against a very good defensive team, you might have to go inside 10, which we did, and some positive things happened when we were a little more patient, and when we went too soon and left our feet against a good defensive team like Colorado, they're going to make you pay, and they did, and that was a part of the turnover package early, but this game was probably the most depth we've had in a long time. So it's hard to really, blame any of the foul issues on the outcome of the game. We're getting healthier, we're getting bigger, getting Marcus back is going to be a plus. He got some rebounds done for us tonight. I think he'll help us more next week.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.